Welcome back to Inside Guelph. We're talking about one of my favorite animals. It's dogs, and we have Barkbusters Tim Gerard joining us. Welcome.
Thanks for having me back.
I wish every time you brought in new puppies for me to sample.
Yeah.
That's what we have to go through. Actually, we should do a demonstration of how to train one with me. I've never raised a puppy. And you're a big proponent of leadership and the importance
Definitely.
of leadership. So why is that important?
Well, leadership gives the dog a sense of safety and security. So you don't get barking dogs. You don't get high tensed up dogs that your neighbors don't see their true personality. You do, but when the neighbors or guests come, you're on edge because of what the dog might do. I left a client in Waterloo last Tuesday night, 6 years old, to the point the dog barks at every noise in the house and has a big deep bark. It's a golden doodle. So it has a big deep bark and it just startles them. And they emailed me the next day and said, oh, it's nice to have a quiet house where the dog suddenly knows it's wrong because they changed the way they interact. But this dog had 6 years of leadership, 6 years of anxiety. They see a sweetheart.
Right.
But they also see a dog that scares when people, because it had nipped at people.
Ooh.
And that gets to the point that the dog is really stressed. So leadership lets them be themselves, I like to say. Lets your friends see the dog the way you see the dog.
This is it.
They're not on duty. They don't have a job. We call it retiring them of their duty.
And you do that right from the start.
Right from the start.
So how do you do that? How do you show leadership? Let's
Well-
talk puppy.
Puppy, well, first of all, you have to control the puppy. Control the puppy's life.
Okay.
Okay, again, people want to let the dog control them. The man of the male client, see, they get to be themselves. They get to be. They're not tense. They're not anxious. They're not
No, that's a good
walking
point.
by the house, barking, walking at the back fence, barking at everything. That you live behind a
Yeah.
park, and the people walk by, and the dog does nothing but bark at it.
Yes.
At things. That's not a calm dog because barking is not a sign of calmness. It's a sign of stress in those situations.
Okay, because I've heard that's a happy dog.
Yeah, they get to be themselves, I call it.
The barking, and sorry, we'll get back to how to do it with the
Yeah.
puppy, but when you're saying the barking in that situation, and we have a few of those in the neighborhood of the constantly outside barking, have heard being told, well, they're doing their job. That's their job, to bark and warn you. But it's
Well, the biggest thing
constant.
is, first of all, you have doors and windows, doorbells that warn you.
Yes.
Why do they have to do something? Why do they have to panic when someone comes? Right? Barking is panic in that situation. So why are they panicking? Because they have a job to do. Ding,
I'm in
doorbell
charge.
rings, I got a job to do. Everybody be prepared, there's something. Why aren't they standing at the back fence going, come on in, I dare you. I dare because I'm not panicking, like I'm tough.
Right.
Again, it's the not tough dogs. It's a timid temperaments or fearful or nervous that panic like that because they're in a position they shouldn't be. And
so
therefore, when they associate something's about to happen,
Yeah.
and they panic, warning everybody inside. Why should they have to warn? You should be warning them when you need them, not the other way around.
Okay, so that's the lack of leadership.
Yeah, it's just, and it can get to the point. The longer it goes, anxiety. I always like to ask folks, does it get better with time? Never does. It always gets worse the longer you're anxious, And there's, like I say, this client with the dog, 6 years old, was barking at every noise. If somebody slammed the door, a car door, it would bark because it associates somebody's coming. I got a job to do, and it's panicking. 1 o'clock in the morning when your neighbor slams the door and your dog starts barking.
That's no fun
That's
for anyone.
high tense. That's
Yeah.
high tension and anxiety.
Okay, so let's go back to the puppy stage. We've got our puppy. How are we establishing leadership? And I have to say, to me, they're so cute.
Right.
And they're so little.
Right.
And so when they jump up, it doesn't really bother you. But I know that they grow into big dogs, and when they jump up, it does bother you.
Well, it bothers a lot of folks when
Yeah.
they jump up.
Yeah.
When they're 20 pounds, not so much. When they're 80 pounds, it bothers.
So what are some quick and simple tools or examples of how we establish leadership right away?
The biggest thing anybody can do is not let their dogs control them.
Okay.
Don't live life on your dog's schedule. Now with puppies, with toilet training, it's slightly different because you want them to tell you when to go out. But that's different than your puppy needs your attention right now, so I'm going to stop what I'm doing and play. Your puppy because this dog the other night was, like I said, a week ago today actually, telling when it wants to eat, telling when it wants to go out, telling when it wants to play, telling telling, and the owners were doing it. They were just on the dog's
Back and
schedule.
call.
Exactly. And therefore, this dog who isn't tough, once they corrected and started acting tough and not letting the dog control them, holy cow, the dog said, "You're pretty tough." And suddenly, I don't think I should bark because of that correction we've talked about in the past. The dog made us, but we taught the dog, we didn't just react to the dog.
Oh.
Okay, see, part of training for behavior is you have to teach the dog and catch it in the moment, not after it's been barking for 10 minutes or 5 minutes and you walk into the living room and be quiet.
Right.
You set it
That
up.
makes no sense.
We teach folks how to set things up. So you can correct when the dog thinks of barking. When it perks its head up, it gets the correction and, oh, I'm not supposed to worry about that. Goes and lays down and you go, good decision when you heard that doorbell.
Oh.
So when it hears that doorbell, it makes the decision you want
Yeah.
on its own, not you telling it what to do. And we're not dealing in high anxiety either.
Okay, so the moment of correction, be it puppy, be it 6-year-old, 10-year-old, it can be corrected at any time.
Yes.
What is it we do to correct? It's not a magazine hitting.
Oh no, because you make the dog afraid of you.
Yeah.
You correct it like its mother would.
Okay.
Ah,
I love that.
that's all it is. It's a sound the mother makes.
And so this is what you just taught your clients with the 6-year-old dog.
Yep.
Now they're going,
They do it when but they're also teaching the dog. They're not just reacting to when he barks.
okay.
You know what I mean? Like they set up when they know somebody's coming, so they can teach the dog, you don't bark. Not waiting till he's in a high adrenaline state.
Okay, but
And
this
want him
is,
to
so
stop.
your dog's at the front door barking, barking, barking. You're and just going,
No, too late.
right.
You
You
start
gotta do it
again.
before.
You call the dog back away when he wants. Like in other words, invite him away from the door.
Yeah,
Don't let people in because that's when the adrenaline will still be flowing.
right.
Then you give the dog a correction and then you go answer the door, which means you're not going to be successful and you're wrong for thinking of doing that again. But if you knew when people are coming to your house,
You can do it before.
you can do it before. So that's the training. That's the setting up of the dog to catch it in the moment,
Oh,
not after it's been barking, barking, barking. So you were just reacting like a human,
yeah,
which is, I have to stop it.
yeah.
Dogs teach not to do it, not to stop doing it.
Okay. So
Right?
and it's consistent.
Yeah.
I would imagine you have to do it every time
Leadership is
until it's done.
consistency. That's
With
all it
and not
is.
just the barking, with the everything.
Everything.
Oh, they're so cute once you've put the time in, though. It's really worth
They
it.
are,
You have to
exactly.
meet Tim's dogs. They're so lovely.
They're
At
great.
Barkbusters, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Please stay with us. We'll be back with much more right here on Inside